Prominent face in the Toastmasters world. He has retired from BHEL as senior manager after putting in 38 years of service. And he's an expert in farming of ceramic products, and he has done a lot of training modules for productivity enhancement, energy conservation in industry and at homes, effective management, environmental engineering, air quality monitoring, and so on. He was also deputed for the Harvard's Management Training Program, where he went through 13 training modules. In his Toastmasters journey, he joined Toastmasters in 1997. You heard that right, 1997. And he has played leadership roles at the club level. He has been the president of Bangalore Toastmasters Club during 1999-2000 and was declared Toastmaster of the Year for 2 consecutive years. He was the charter president of Speech Studio Toastmasters Club in 2019 and continued in 2020 as well. And was the president of We Speak Toastmasters Club in 2022 and 2024 and is currently the president of Advanced Debaters Club. You have heard of serial entrepreneurs. He's a serial president for you. Yeah? And at international level, he has been chairman of Territorial Council of South Asia for Toastmasters in 2005, first district governor of Toastmasters for India and Sri Lanka in 2006, district chief judge in 2007, appointed first regional advisor for Toastmasters in South Asia in 2009, invited to Taiwan for the annual conference in 2010, brand ambassador for Toastmasters International in 2011, district parliamentarian for Toastmasters in 2022, conducts many training programs at international level for Toastmasters International and has been awarded the Distinguished Toastmaster Award as well. So he is a keen debater, quiz master, anchor and master of ceremonies at various programs. He serves as judge for various cultural events in schools and colleges. A passionate trainer and mentor, has conducted several training programs at corporate and educational institutions. Post-retirement, he has undergone a certification course in family counseling and helping many families cope up with stress. Alright? And please put your hands together without conserving any energy. That's all you want. Communication. The stage is yours.
Thank you very much, Mr. Toastmaster. A very good morning to you all, fellow Toastmasters and guests.
Good morning.
Madam President, Area Director, Toastmasters, I would also like to acknowledge the presence of my past Executive Director at BHEL, Mr. Raj Bhakti, who lives very close by. I hope you'll be able to join you all sometime. I would like to congratulate first the team that has taken over the reins of the Talkmagic Club. Let me tell you, the journey is going to be tough, but the expectations are high. You have already spelled out what you plan to do in the next 6 months, and the members are going to be very keenly watching you whether you're doing it the way you promised or not. 6 months down the line, you will share with the club what your vision was and what you have achieved. So, expectations is something that I thought would be the right topic to discuss with you today. The rain in Spain stays mainly in the plain. This sentence was something which Professor Higgins used to help Eliza Doolittle in the movie My Fair Lady, which was released in the year 1964. She was an ordinary flower girl from the village, and this professor tells his friend, I will transform this ordinary lady into somebody who we looked at as noble. and he went on to teach her first to speak and then behave. So the proper English that the Englishmen did not have is what he was trying to teach her, and the stress was on the extended A. Rain, Spain, plane, and he used her as his tool to prove that if you want to do something, if you feel that something can be changed, it can be changed. So with a lot of effort, Professor Higgins transforms her and takes her to a dance program where she is introduced to the people. Nobody knew her background except he and his friend. This transformation, fellow Toastmasters, is what is called the Pygmalion effect, which means it is a psychological phenomenon where high expectations lead to improved performance. In other words, when someone believes that you can do it and tries to impress on you, motivates you or inspires you, the best will come out of you. Now this Pygmalion effect is something that comes from a sculptor known as Pygmalion. He created a beautiful sculpture of a girl, and it was so beautiful that he fell in love with the statue, and it is believed that the statue came to life and he married this girl. So the effect is, the idea is the strong belief that brings something to life. And this effect, my dear friends, is what we are looking at in each other as Toastmasters. Most of what we discussed just now, the goals of your club, is more like the Pygmalion effect. Do you have in your club members who you feel, no, this person, I don't think he's going to improve. I don't think she's going to come up to that level we are expecting. And do you have had the situation where members who join the club and within a month or two, maybe after 6 months, just leave the club, maybe dissatisfied, disappointed, sometimes even disgusted with what happened? This is something which you would have noticed people leaving. So when you have a feeling or an expectation that is negative, which does not allow you to look at the ability of the person that can be looked at in terms of Pygmalion effect, then that is called the golem effect. The golem effect is when the expectations lead to worse performance. And we've seen it in our lives. Maybe at work, maybe in the club. We've seen situations where we made a mistake by electing this person as the Vice President Education. He is not capable. And we push into the minds of people and even that individual the fact that you are not capable. So the golem effect is something which we call, like the Pygmalion effect, a self-fulfilling prophecy. Here you are telling somebody you are capable, and there you are telling somebody you are not capable. So high expectations on one side leads to improved performance, and low expectations declines the performance. Now, whilst the Pygmalion effect uplifts, the golem effect drags down. Fellow Toastmasters, let's look at it from the club point of view. You say you have 50 members. You don't have 50 members today. Everybody have reasons, but the fact that we have an excellent event. The installation of our new committee itself is something that is bubbly for me. Every installation ceremony has been an important event over the years because it is handing over the baton to somebody else. This effect that we have in us is what we call as expectations, to look forward. Now, all of us have joined Toastmasters not because you were forced to, or not because you want to have fun alone, but there is that selfish, selfless involvement in Toastmasters. I want to grow, I want to achieve, I want to be better than I used to be, and that is my selfish reason. That's why I am here. But the selfless service that I give to the club as an officer is what makes the difference between being an ordinary person and somebody who has expectations in your own self. Now, as an officer, some of the issues Gokila shared with me, discussing what could be done, what needs to be done, what are the challenges we face. See, this is selfless service to the club. As a leader in your club, you can't go around, lifting up your collar and saying, I'm so and so in the club, you see my badge, I have something here that declares. It makes no sense to anybody if you do not humble yourself in front of your members. How you get things done is, I call up and say, Mr. So and so, you are scheduled to speak next week, is your speech ready? If you're going to ask it in that way, you are not going to get an answer that is expected out of you. So what would be your approach? Is to make that other person feel important. I would call somebody and say, it's long since I heard you speak. I remember your last speech, you spoke on so and so topic. Make that person feel important. The whole club is looking forward to your next speech. When are you delivering your next speech? Or shall I fix your date for you? Will you do it the coming week? That person feels nice, feels obligated, and maybe would come and feel nice. It is the Pygmalion effect on that person. If you are a leader of substance, you could expect people to rise and meet the expectations placed upon them. And that is what is very important. To be able to rise to the occasion. To keep the values of Toastmasters very, very much in our mind. Do you remember? Respect, integrity, service, and excellence. These are the values that Toastmasters speak. And as a leader in my club, I need to be sure that I uphold these values so that it takes me to a different level. Just like the Pygmalion effect, which is positive, the Golan effect, that is negative, there is one more very important effect, and that is called the Galatia effect. Very interesting to know that it is how you have your own self-expectations, how your self-expectations influence your own performance. Now, I have come prepared to speak, so my self-expectation is something. I have to prepare myself, I have to make sure that I deliver something that has got meaning. So the Galatia effect is, it occurs when the person's own self-expectations drive their performance. So as a Toastmaster, have you become a little bit different from your last speech? Did you pick up 2 or 3 recommendations that were given to you in the evaluation in your last speech and try to implement it in your next speech? Or is your next speech also going to be evaluated with the same points? You have to improve this, you have to improve that. Is there a cascading effect on you? Is it changing the way you look at yourself? I have had umpteen number of discussions with Toastmasters across, and one of the very important things that I have realized is to have the Galatia effect in you. I would like to cite the example of Lakshmi. Many of you are aware that I conduct youth leadership programs. I've been doing it in the last 20 years, and the best is to catch students in the high school. That's when they are really getting transformed. Now, Lakshmi was one of the students of Clooney Convent, and she had to give her icebreaker in that meeting. She came, stood on the stage, and in that deafening silence, all we could see was tears rolling down her cheeks. I asked the senior girls to take her off stage, kept her aside, and during the break, I just had a small talk with her. I said, Lakshmi, I think you have to feel that you can do it. Nervousness all of us will have, but you have to learn to control it. Lakshmi went on to present her speech. At the latter part of the meeting, she said, yes sir, I will do it. She not only presented her speech without any hesitation. At the end of the 8th session, we had a contest amongst the participation. Lakshmi came and was adjudged the best speaker that day. Now, how did this transformation happen? It was because of the Pygmalion effect of me telling her something, and it is the Galatia effect in her that she said, yes, I think I will be able to do it, and she did it. So if you look at the comparisons of all the 3 effects for Toastmasters, the Pygmalion effect, the source of expectation is others' high expectations, and the outcome is improved performance. The golem effect is others' low expectations, declined performance, and the Galatia effect is self-expectations, and the performance arises or falls according to what you feel. I may have the Galatia effect on you, but the Pygmalion effect on you, but the Galatia effect in you is very, very important, and that is what makes a difference. So together these effects show how expectations, whether from others or ourselves, can shape reality. So there are lots of ways that you could look at these things, maybe strategies to strengthen the Galatia effect, and that is very, very important. Set ambitious but realistic goals. This is something which all of us should have, setting our own goals. It should be ambitious but also should be realistic, like the SMART goals that we speak about. Spend a few minutes thinking about yourself and visualize success. You standing here and the whole club applauding you for becoming a distinguished Toastmaster, that is visualization. Can I look at myself as a distinguished Toastmaster? One of the very important things that I've practiced myself is positive self-talk. Come on, Bosco, you can do it. I'm sure you will be able to do it. Take it. This is what we call self-upliftment. And finally, it is the tracking of your progress. If you ask the ordinary Toastmaster, he or she would have presented a speech once in 3 months, once in 4 months, sometimes. My last speech, I don't even remember when I presented, sir, he will say. Why? Because I have so many other things in my mind. One of the very important things of the Galatia effect which we have in our club is to have constructive feedback. Sadly, the feedback that we get in our club is a little bit polished, a little bit whitewashed. We don't tell the truth to the speaker for the speaker to understand that I need to improve. I think you can do better. No, I feel you must do better. You've not met the guidelines, tell. Don't hesitate. And this seeking feedback is for our own growth. Now, one of the very important things that all of us everywhere need to do is to surround ourselves with belief. Spend time with people who are capable, who are positive. Spend time with them, because that actually adds on to you. and changes the way you look. So how does the Galatia effect work? Because this is a self-fulfilling prophecy turned inward. This is something which you need to do on a daily basis. Okay, morning, afternoon, evening, night. You keep recalling these things, and it will keep telling you where you stand and what you are expected out of this whole process of Galatia effect. Once the Pygmalion effect is an outside influence, the Golem effect is an outside influence, it is the Galatia effect that makes all the difference. Can I do it? Is a question that you ask yourself and tell yourself, yes, you can do it. No, this is not my cup of coffee, then you are not going to have coffee at all. It is very important to make it stick, be consistent, personalize your plans, speak with conviction, fellow Toastmasters, reflect, especially at night, have I achieved what I need to achieve? So when I was thinking about what to speak, I also had in me, what are the expectations of speech? The speech that I'm going to deliver by this particular club. I'm not new to this club, I've been here quite a few times. What is very important is, where are you today? My only grouse with the Toastmasters is, have you used this learning that you get here in your professional life? I still remember I was at Delhi, and there was a meeting where we had to meet the chairman. Since he has heard me speak sometime ago, when I introduced myself, he said, we have to learn to speak from this man. I mean, a public statement that came, that still in my mind I keep remembering that. Why? Because he saw something. Can you make that small difference which will take you to a different platform? People look at you not only with expectation, but also look at you with satisfaction and say, she or he has met my expectations. Fellow Toastmasters, if you have any questions on the topic. Yes, sir.
You've been in Toastmasters from last 30 years.
Yes.
I wanted to check.
I will have to speak a little loudly, please.
Yeah. You've been in Toastmasters from last 30 years.
Yes.
So I just wanted to check, you have grown from 97 to 30, in 30 years. Consequently, you have grown. And I just wanted to understand, were there any challenges you faced during this journey, and how did you overcome that?
The challenge that I faced in the earlier part of my Toastmasters journey was the fear of listening to the evaluator. In those days, evaluator will say, I promote you to the next project, or you have failed in the project. Today it is not done. So that was the fear I had, the fear of being evaluated. Then later on, I started understanding that the evaluator has noticed something which is negative in me, and I have to change that negativity. And I think that transition from then to now is what I believe is a major change for me. Okay? I hope I've answered the question. Yes, Alok? Any other questions, please? Yes, please.
I just want to ask, since you've been a Toastmaster for so long and taken on so many roles, I mean, I find that today not too many people want to go beyond the club and experience the other things that are available within the Toastmasters network. Because obviously they have work and family and time and so many other things. So what do you get by taking on all the roles that you've got? What do you gain apart from the experience and
I think the learning that comes as an officer of the club, you would have experienced yourself as the president of the club or vice president, whatever role you play, has given you an opportunity to learn what that role is. At the area level, you are talking to people who are not in your club. Now, the challenge for you is to convince those people that you are the leader first, before you can get anything out of that. Now, the ability to make people look at you differently is a big challenge, and once you have proved yourself at that level, they will come to you for so many things. And the learning there is, I am handling people I don't know. I am convincing people I don't know. I am getting calls from people who, sir, I heard you speak yesterday, can you please tell me this? People look at you differently, and that experience itself is self-rewarding. That is one. The second thing is leadership that we talk about. All of us are leaders in whatever form, even if you're not a leader in the club. At home, I am a leader. At work, I am a leader. You may have your boss and subordinates, but at every level, you are a leader. Now, at every level of Toastmasters, the activity of leadership is different. The president and the area director cannot be compared. So the learning for the area director is something different. So at every step, there is some learning and there is a satisfaction. The question that you brought first was, not many are willing to take roles beyond the club. There are not many roles. For 4 clubs, there is 1 area director. Okay? For 4 clubs or 5 clubs, there is 1 area director. So you have a 1/5 chance to take up that role, which means you should be really good. And if you're looking at developing yourself as a speaker and say, okay, I have achieved what I want, I reached that saturation level as a speaker, then you're satisfied, that's the end of it. You're not going to enjoy your Toastmasters journey beyond. It is only when taking up various roles that you feel there is a difference. I'm invited in so many clubs because of the experience that I have, the knowledge that I have of Toastmasters. They will ask some very unusual questions on Toastmastering and they don't have answers. It is all available on the Toastmasters website. They don't have the time to read it. So, and there is a person who knows, he will tell. So people come to you for various things. The satisfaction of being a Toastmaster itself is unique. Being a leader is having its own positives.
So would you recommend that anybody who wants to be a leader that they go and take up new roles or attempt to at least try to do something outside?
Okay, to be recognized at a level beyond the club where the district director feels that you could be an area director, you cannot straight away get into area director. You should take part in the area contest, not necessarily as a contestant, but as one of the organizers of the area or division contest. Be seen at the district conference, take part in the district conference. So many roles to play. People will notice somebody good and say, why don't you become an area director? That's when people recognize you. You want to become is one. That is the Galatia effect. But the Pygmalion effect is somebody wanting you to become. Okay? Yes.
So we have seen probably 3-4 generations of speakers since time we joined Toastmasters. So how do you assess and compare these generations in terms of attitude, in terms of capability?
You want the truth?
Yeah.
Okay. I am disappointed. I think I am disappointed more for the situation that existed during the COVID times. Toastmasters just read their projects from home and became distinguished Toastmasters. They can't stand for 2 minutes and speak. Point number 1 is, what effort am I putting to generate a speech? Today you go to Grok or AI and say, I want to give a speech on this for 7.5 minutes. It will give you one. You just read it, everybody applaud. You will also get the best speaker award. Okay, that is dangerous. First thing is that. The second thing is, pardon me, but you are all very casual. There was never a Toastmasters meeting where I have not gone with a suit. That was the order of the day. You know, the president would have half a dozen ties in a box, and members who come without a tie will say, please go and use one of the ties. That was the importance given. They said, you know, a Toastmasters meeting is a sacred place. When you give importance to the organization, then you yourself feel different. Okay? The casualness that comes is something that has come over a period of time. I mean, you don't blame anybody for it. If you were told when you joined, no, you have to come, formally dressed, you have to come with a tie, jeans are not allowed, you can't come with sandals. If it is a norm, if you go to Bangalore Toastmasters Club, it is still continued. That's where I started my journey. If you go to the Gulf clubs in the Middle East, without a suit, they will not come for a meeting. Okay, so the casualness that has entered has brought down the sanctity of Toastmasters. That is the one thing. The second thing is the level of evaluations that we have has also come down. You are not really, how many of you really read the project and present your speech? And how many of you read the project when you are the evaluator? How can you evaluate somebody without knowing what the project is all about? The evaluator's sheet is only 2 sheets, but the project is about 30 sheets that he has to read. With that, he performs, he prepares a speech and presents to the club. So he has met certain goals he has to meet. Has he met the goals of that project? Evaluators don't know. When you come into the club, the VP says, why don't you evaluate him? Done, I will evaluate. I can speak. 3 minutes to evaluate is not difficult. Giving a feedback of what happened is not difficult. But what was the purpose of that project? What was the purpose of that speech? Do you know? Without knowing it, how do you give a feedback? Sometimes, even without meeting the guidelines of the speech, the speaker is adjudged the best speaker of the day because of the quality of speaking, not the content. So there is a danger where you're not going to learn. We went to the grind.